That was absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much. And I have to say, I thank you so much for the energy that you move everywhere. Thank you. I would like some specific help with, like everything that you just got done saying was just like talking to me just like that. So my entire life, it's like I want something and I move towards it and expand towards it and create it, and I have these things that I want that are way bigger than I have. You know, like the house in California with the pool and palm trees. A bigger sailboat than I have.
Well, before you go further, we're going to hear you fully, but we want to say to you that right away, we want to point out to you that when things feel way bigger, all it means is you're not in the vibrational vicinity.
Yeah.
In other words, things have to feel like the next logical step. You see, we can understand how if you've been working for a long time, and you've been making money, and you've been spreading your money around as best you can for a long time, and you've put as many hours in as you can do and have a reasonably comfortable life, and now you're asking for something that costs 10 times what your current house costs, or 20 times what your current house costs, or 30 times what your current house costs.
Right.
We can hear how your logic says it's way big.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take it out of the realm of manifestation and stuff and economy and money, and you put it in a vibrational context, and you hear what we said to you earlier, that your asking has been answered and that it is vibrationally there, and you work to have an emotional journey, not an action journey. We're not saying to you, figure out how it will come and where it will come from and when it will come and who will bring it and the means of how the money will come. Those are not any of the things that we're talking to you about, because you don't have answers to those questions, and you know what? You don't need answers to those questions. Your only work, hear this, it's the best way we've ever said it. Your only work is to find some way of getting yourself in the vortex where all that stuff is. That's your work. You got to get in the vibrational vortex. And you can't get there by saying what I want's way more than what I have. You can't get there. So it's an emotional journey that you got to take. It's an emotional journey from despair or not believing or doubtful into hopeful and believing. It's an emotional journey. How do you explain? Well, we've heard the stories of the way you try to explain your Earth spinning in its orbit. Your stories are not that good. We get why you don't believe the stories you tell about that. In other words, if you tell the story of creation in the way it really is, you'd understand your part in it, and you'd believe all things are possible. But when you tell ridiculous fairy tales about how things come about, and then you can't find a way of applying that fairy tale to this, when you start telling law-based stories to yourself, when you talk about law of attraction, when you watch the evidence, when you see how hopefulness brings you different results than doubt, when you see how optimism always yields you different results than pessimism, when you see what your worry does to your body and you see what it does to your results, and you practice being optimistic even though you don't have physical evidence that gives you the reason to. You use the reason for the improved emotion to be, I just want to feel better. You don't demand that the universe do the impossible and give you something to believe before you are vibrationally in alignment with it. You've got to move your vibration. So when you say it's way bigger, we say, you should see what's in your future. The other night, Esther said to Jerry as they were driving, tell me the story of our house in Del Mar. Now it's completed, it's there, it's beautiful. They have an ocean view. It sits there by itself without them, but it is beautiful.
That's good.
And as Jerry told Esther the story of that beautiful house, she might as well have been there. She felt it and enjoyed it. And so when she put herself in her bed that night, she said, Abraham, tell me the story of, and we teased her a little bit because we want her to tell the story. But when we told her the story of what's in her vibrational escrow, it was way big. It was way bigger than she can wrap her physical thoughts around. She cannot make the physical path to that. She cannot conjure it. Doesn't need to. That's not her work. It's not your work to figure out the how and the where and the when and the who. It's your work to find the feeling of relief or exhilaration inside there. That's your work. We just want to stick this one thing in because it's going to come up all day today, and we want it to come up for you the rest of your life. We want the question that you put to yourself to be all day, every day: how can I get in the vortex? How can I get into the vortex? In other words, accept that everything you want's there. What's it going to take right here and now? Because you see, when you say, how am I going to get out there to the ocean view? Oh, so many obstacles in the way.
Right.
Got to find a realtor, got to find the property, got to amass the money. So many things that you could get hung up on. When you say, how can I get in the vortex? It's an emotional journey. How can I find a feeling of exhilaration? How can I get in the vortex? That's all you got to do. Get in the vortex. Law of attraction, universal forces, the resources of source will provide the means. And people will stand in amazement as they see heaven and earth parting to yield to you these amazing things.
I am ready. Okay, and the challenge then for me becomes the current circumstances don't allow me to do some of the things that I want to do to move in that direction.
But you're not you don't need money to get in the vortex.
Okay.
Getting in the vortex is a conversational thing. You don't have to pay money to get in the vortex.
Okay.
Doesn't cost anything.
No, it doesn't.
To be hopeful.
No.
Doesn't cost anything to tell a positive story. Doesn't cost anything to dream the dream, to tell the story.
Okay.
Doesn't cost anything to tell the story. And you know what? You tell that story long enough, you'll believe it. And when you believe it, you're in the vortex, and the universe has to give it to you.
It just has to
so
happen.
if there's something that you want and you're not getting it, it's only because you don't believe it. And you can say, oh, I believe it. And we say, you can't believe it. If you believed it, you'd be living it. You say, well, I sort of kind of believe it on rare occasions. And we say, you got to give it more airtime. You got to talk about it until you really believe it, which means you have to suspend your attention to reality. Your friends say, how you doing? You say, great. You're looking forward to the vortex. When people say, how you been? You want to say, irrelevant. When they say, well, how are you? That's irrelevant too.
Okay.
They say, well, what question do you want me to ask you? I want you to ask me where I'm going.
Okay.
I want you to ask me questions that make me define where I'm going. So when you say to someone, how is it or how's it been, you're queuing them up for less than the jumping in the vortex. If you want to uplift people, just try to imagine their vibrational escrow vortex and try to ask them questions that you think the answers will cause them to jump in the vortex. Just stop explaining so much what is, and stop complaining so much about what is, and stop comparing where you are to where you want to be, or where you are to where others are, and just start telling the story, 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 telling the story. Jerry has the best story of that we have ever heard, where he was in show business many years ago, and he was going to Canada, and he was going to be the MC at a big event, and so he wanted to have his picture taken with the Prime Minister so that he could put it in his portfolio. He thought it would help him to find future work. And so he said to someone, I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. And that person said, that's ridiculous. That's like having your picture taken with the President of the United States. That's not going to happen. And Jerry said, I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. And then he started to like the sound of it. He began telling it to everyone. People who didn't even know him, they would say, what do you want for breakfast? And he would say, I would like my eggs scrambled, and I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. People thought he was crazy. He didn't care. He practiced I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. He told it over and over and over and over and over again. And each time he told the story, the feeling of it was exhilarating to him. I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. He didn't say, I wish I could, or I hope I will. He said, I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. And so weeks went by, and he told it to everyone. Most everyone laughed. The ones that didn't laugh felt sorry for him because they thought he was nutty. And then he arrived at the Coliseum where the event was going to take place, and all of the government people are there. They are searching for anything that could be a problem to this prime minister when he arrives. And it is a big arena, thousands and thousands and thousands of seats. And there were a few people working around, and there was a little lady sitting in the front row. Now, before Jerry he thought, well, I'll hire a photographer. So he hired a photographer, and the photographer said he would come. And Jerry said, well, I'm going to walk across the stage because I am the master of ceremonies, and I'm going to trip and fall in the lap of the prime minister. And when the prime minister reaches up to catch me, I'll shake his hand and you get the picture. Well, he knew he needed a photographer if he was going to have a picture, and so,
that's great.
And the photographer asked for his money in advance, and so now Jerry is in the arena, and there is one little gray-haired lady sitting in the front row, and Jerry sat next to her, which was odd in and of itself. And she said hello, and Jerry said, I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister. And she said, you are? And she said, my son is a Minister of Parliament. He knows Mr. Diefenbacher very well. I will make the arrangements. And so she introduced them, and the photographer came, and they had a very nice picture taken together. It came about in an interesting way, but it always comes about. The universe has 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 100 or 1,000 options lined up to accommodate you and what you want. You just have to get in the vortex. You have to tell the story of what you want until you do not have a vibrational difference between the story that you're offering and the story of what's in the vortex. You've got to find the vibrational essence of what you're looking for. And when you do, it must come to you. It cannot defy you. It cannot be denied you. It must come. It is law, you see.
And you connect with the vibrational essence by
telling
focusing,
the story,
meditating,
by telling the story,
by
telling the story. The thing that we want to say to you is, we want you to get in the vortex, not because you have to get there for the stuff to manifest. We want you to get into the vortex because it feels so good in the vortex. Knowing feels so much better than not knowing. Mm-hmm. Knowledge of what you desire is like delicious, while doubting is contradiction of who you are. In the vortex, you see the world through the eyes of source. In the vortex, you are a radiator of positive motion. In the vortex, you are in the vicinity of everything you want. In the vortex, you are who you really are. In the vortex, there's no separation between you and you. In the vortex, you are the one energy stream being that you were born to be. In other words, before you were born, you were offering one powerful signal. Once you're in this body, you have the potential of offering two signals, the doubtful one and the knowing one. And if it weren't for the knowing one, the doubtful one wouldn't feel doubtful. In other words, if Source would come and join you in your poverty, you wouldn't feel the discord of it. If Source would come and join you in your discomfort, in your fear, you would not feel fear. But Source won't join you. You have to join Source. You see, you've got to make the effort to get into the vortex. Over the years, we've said, when you want something and you believe it, it is. When you move in the direction of what you want, you always feel more relief than when you're moving in opposition to what you want. You have created this. This stuff is done. It's so close to being done, we don't know why you don't see it. Your reality is so big and so beautiful. Your world is so good. Your potential for joy is so great. And the effort to get there is so small. Make the effort to get in the vortex. Start practicing it immediately. As people say, how you been? Say, don't care. You say, oh. Well, how are you? Doesn't matter. What's up with you? Oh, I'm just forward looking. There's so much good stuff ahead of me, I can't get my eyes off of it. What do you mean? I'm going to have my picture taken with the Prime Minister.
Thank you.
We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is exhilarating to come together with those like you. We have gone to places that no one has been before. Have fun with all of this. We make much too much of all of it. Get happy. There is great love here for you. You're welcome.